this week's edition of On the Money with Secure Money with Brian Quaranta. He's the CEO and founder of Secure Money Advisors, and he brought with him this week Neil Major, one of their senior advisors that so many families love and trust. Our producer said I need to mention a little bit about myself because people ask, where did I come from? Am I a fiduciary? No, I am not. I was a longtime reporter, producer, news anchor. I survived Hurricane Katrina. There was a documentary about my family on the Weather Channel. I have been happy to host The View. I've hosted Good Morning America. Since I graduated, since I retired from television, that's a little slip, how funny. I have been a consumer advocate for child advocacy in my state and the whole area, and I'm just so thrilled to be a part of what Brian does and his amazing family. You are all about freedom, information, transparency.
Yeah.
It really drives you crazy, the Wall Street model, the big box model, of us not feeling informed. And that's why my family went with an independent, I can say that. And that is what you all strive to do every single day.
Oh, you better believe it. I mean, if you even look at what's happening in the financial industry right now, there's a big exit of financial advisors out of the big box firms into the independent world. You know, because they just don't want to have to sit down with a client anymore and have an agenda. They want the freedom to really talk to the client, understand their goals, understand their risk level, and be able to go out to the marketplace and look at the best products for the clients so that they can solve the problems for each individual client, because really everybody's situation is so different.
Completely different.
They've got different goals with their money. They have different amounts of money. Some people have pensions. Some people don't have pensions. Some people have saved a lot of money in retirement accounts. Some people have saved a little bit of money in retirement accounts. So when we're working at our office, we see all kinds of shapes and sizes.
Yes.
And what's really great about Secure Money Advisors is that we've been able to help a wide variety of people with different situations. And that's something we really pride ourselves on.
And that's the opposite of the cookie cutter approach. And I think that's why so many people are exiting, going independent.
Yeah.
You started exiting before a lot. You saw the writing on the wall when you were a very young man working for one of the big box chains.
I did. And that had happened because my first year at a big box firm, I had a situation that really bothered me. It was my first 2 weeks on the job. I was told that I was going to answer the phones. This is 1999 going into 2000. The stock bubble had bursted. And of course, people were losing money left and right. And I took a phone call from a gentleman that was very upset that he was losing money. And I didn't know what to say to him. So I had said, Sam, who's your advisor? And let me go talk to him. So I put the gentleman on hold. I go to his advisor and I said, look, we've got an upset client on the line. He says he needs to sell out of the market today because this is all the money he's got. He's been living off of it for the past 5 years, and this money needs to last the rest of his life. And every time he keeps taking withdrawals, the balance keeps going down, not only because he's taking the withdrawals, but because the market's going down. And what the advisor said to me affected me so badly, and it made me change my mind about whether or not I even wanted to be in this industry. But he told me, he said, I want you to get back on the phone with that gentleman and let him know that everything's going to be okay. To remind him that he's in this thing for the long haul, and as long as he sticks it out, he's going to be fine. So what did I do? I went back and I had the conversation with him, and I said, look, spoke to the advisor, said, don't worry about anything, just hang in there, you're in it for the long haul. And what he said to me next is why I wrote this book. It's why I started Secure Money Advisors. He said, Brian, I am 75 years old. How much damn long haul does this guy think I've got left? And it's very true. The biggest concern for every retiree, for every person that we meet at our office, is the concern of running out of money.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%. And the biggest thing I think that the big box experience misses, not only the cookie cutter, but is also that in writing financial plan. It's not just what stocks you have, it's that in writing. So let's talk about that. How do you start your retirement plan? What is it and why is it so imperative?
Well, I think, just to use me as an example, my expectation is that I'll probably work at least 25 more years, right? So what are my goals right now for my financial plan? Well, save as much money as possible,
right?
To put us in position to be able to retire. try and grow the money the best I can because I have that long time frame, be as tax efficient with certain investments and the type of account that they're in,
right?
But just accumulate, right? Well, when you're focusing on someone who's retiring without a pension, it's really building out the safety and the predictability that we all crave as human beings in anything that we do, but in particular, going into the next 20, 25, 30 years of their life, they want to make sure that they have that safety and the predictability. So, you know, we can print out all these fancy charts and graphs of hypotheticals and probabilities, but it's not satisfying who is coming into our office.
Yeah.
They're saying, listen, I want some predictability.
Yes.
Show me how I can achieve that.
Yes.
And that really helps them understand it.
Yeah.
So that's our goal.
Yeah, and the start of that planning process all starts with some basic questioning, like, for example, what are going to be your sources of income in retirement? What are your expenses right now? Right? What's going to be your tax rate? And what we're doing when we're asking these questions is we're actually building out a simple cash flow model for them. So we can see all of their sources of income coming in, how much they're going to have to pay in taxes, and what the net amount is going to be left over. Then we have to calculate how much additional money they're going to need. Because when you do that first calculation of what are your income sources, what is your tax rate, and what are your expenses, a lot of people have a shortfall, meaning they have a gap that they need to fill. And that gap needs to be filled from the retirement savings. So the question is, how are you going to do that in a way, like Neil said, that provides that predictability and stability? Because nobody wants to be Sam, that I just talked about at the beginning of the segment, where you're panicked because the market is in absolute disarray, you're losing money like crazy, but you're taking money out at the same time. And now the worst day of retirement, Rebecca,
the day you find out.
Is the day you find out you're going to run out of money. It's not the day that you actually run out of money. It's the day you find out that you're not going to have enough money for the next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and your plan is going to fail. And nobody plans to fail. What happens is they fail to plan.
Exactly. All right, give us a call. We want to get a copy of this book. As Brian said, this is why he wrote this, Right Track Retirement. Everyone said, am I on the right track? I have no idea. Am I on the right track? This is exactly why you wrote this book. Very, very wonderful, short, easy to read. Tell them more about what that first appointment is like. No obligation, no cost. It's a get to know each other.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we spend a lot of time getting to know them.
Yeah.
We probably ask them, questions that they've never been asked before.
Yeah. That's good.
Right? They're not used to somebody taking the time to really evaluate who they are, what their goals are, what they want to do with the money, right? But more importantly, what they need to make it work in the way that they want it to work. Meaning, most people, if you ask them if they want to take risk with their money, they'll say, no, I don't want to be in a position to lose money. So in the book, Right Track Your Retirement, folks, it really is. It's a simple guide to help you build a plan that gives you peace of mind and confidence. I wrote this book in a way that gives you the facts very quickly. There's no fluff in it. It's a very short read, but it's going to give you the basic fundamentals that you need to understand what the retirement planning process really looks like. Because most people think retirement planning is the same thing as investment planning. And it's a completely different strategy. There's 5 key areas that we focus on: your income, your tax strategy, your investment strategy, because the investments that get you to retirement are not the investments that are going to get you through retirement. So we have to fundamentally change. So again, if you want this book, I send it to you absolutely free. I pay for the shipping and handling. I can't make it any easier for you. Go to onthemoneyoffer.com right now. Put down your coffee, put down whatever you're doing, go to onthemoneyoffer.com, scan the QR code, or just, if you got your cell phone on you right now, dial 1-888-382-1298. My team is standing by to take your call and schedule your appointment and get a copy of the book out to you.
Yeah, and there's also that QR code that you can use. It'll take you straight to the landing page. get that book. When you call, tell them what maybe you're really concerned about so we'll know before you come in. All right, I'm Rebecca Powers here with Brian Quaranta and Neil Major, and we are talking about how to secure your hard-earned money. We'll be right back.
See, everybody can tell you how to invest your money. There's not a lot of people out there and a lot of firms that can teach you how to use your money. Most people will also tell you that they're scared. And the reason they're scared is because they're afraid of running out of money.
The last thing you want to do is have a really good job into your 60s, retire, and be looking for work again in your late 70s.
The average person might say, well, a good portfolio would be a good mix of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. No. A good portfolio is all designed around the 5 key areas: income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and legacy planning.
We're not just product pickers here. What we do best here is we build retirement plans.
9 out of 10 people, when they walk through the door, would ask us, we just want to know if we're on the right track. And I always say, if you're not on the right track, when would be a good time to know it? Probably now.
People, can actually see a vision once we start to really build out their plan.
This is about you. If you're not getting what you need, and you feel that when you walk out of the advisor's office, it's time to get a second opinion. And you can't get a second opinion from the person that gave you the first opinion. The difference at Secure Money Advisors, as a fiduciary firm, we help you manage the risk, build the income, and give you the retirement you dreamed of.
Welcome back. Most people have the question, do I have enough money to retire? And that is a great question. And the cookie cutter big bucks might say, oh, you should be able to take out 3, maybe 4% each year, and you should be okay. Neil, when someone says to you, do I have enough to retire? The answer is always, I don't know, I need to get to know you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got to understand your situation a lot better before I can answer that question. It's a very, very common question, right? Because we always talk to our coworkers, our friends and family about what point, is it 500,000, is it $1 million, is it 2 million? What do we need to get to? And, for each and every family, it's going to be entirely different.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, we live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where a lot of the folks are pretty conservative with their lifestyle. And so maybe they don't require as much as someone that lives in a different part of the country. But really, the way that I like to help people focus on how much money they need for retirement is, let's get a good understanding and idea of what your take-home pay is while you're working each and every month. And if we can understand your take-home pay and understand if we use that take-home pay, well, that's going to be our target income need as we move into retirement, that take-home pay, right? And so now we try and figure out with all of our sources of income, Social Security, and if they do have any pensions, how much additional do we need from the investments to get them successfully retired? Now, a lot of people that we deal with actually spend a little bit more in retirement.
That's right.
Would you agree?
Yeah. And what's interesting is that the statistics show that you might only need 70, 80% of your income. But we have found, when we're building plans, is that especially you really like to get their income as close, if not better, than what their take-home pay is right now.
For sure.
And the reason he uses the take-home pay, which is really a genius approach to this, is the fact that he knows that that's the deduction of their health care, it's the deduction of contributions going into their 401ks. So he knows that that's the money hitting their bank account. That's the money they're used to living off of. That's the money they're used to paying the bills with. And so that's why we use that take-home pay as more or less the starting point for figuring out what that income needs to look like in retirement.
I just had a client who I'm helping retire, and his nerves were in the fact that he makes $200,000 a year, and we're going down and targeting like $115,000 a year.
Right.
And what I said to him is, I said, listen, what we have to remember is you max out your 401k with $30,000. You're not going to be doing that anymore in retirement. You pay federal taxes, state taxes, local taxes, into Medicare and Social Security. But in Pennsylvania, we only need to pay those federal taxes.
That's right.
Great.
So, the income can be much different, but if we focus on that net income, it's the same.
It's the same.
Or better.
Yeah.
Do you ever make them do the B word, a budget?
A budget? That's a
Women
dirty,
don't like
that's
that
a dirty
word.
word. That's a dirty word.
Dirty word.
It's a dirty word. You know why we don't do a budget?
Why?
Because you don't pick up the ancillary stuff that happens throughout the year, like, oh, I have to stop off at Hallmark real quick and buy a birthday card or a balloon or whatever. You know, and this is why what I like to do, and Neil and his family do the same thing, we put everything on a credit card. And the reason is because we can, number one, look at the credit card statements on a monthly basis, add them all up, divide by 12, and we know what our average monthly spend rate is because we're grabbing everything. If we stop off at Starbucks, we're putting it on the card. And that gives you the more accurate budget, if you will, than if you were to than if you were just to add up what's my electric, gas, cable. You're missing a lot of stuff if you do it that way.
I've seen so many times where people from the first meeting to the second meeting will say, I've taken the time to write out all my monthly expenses and it's $4,000 a month. And then we do that take-home pay where we get an understanding of that. And the take-home pay is like 10 grand a month. And so it's like, well, where do you save that $6,000? It's like, well, I use it. Right? So maybe your bills aren't actually $4 grand because, listen, in retirement, we're still going to want to go out to eat with our friends. We're still going to want to, go golfing. We're still going to want to travel. Right?
Maybe even more.
Probably
more. That's your thing. You've got more frequency of that than ever.
And you've pointed out you want people to spend the right amount. If you spend too little, you did not enjoy your retirement and what you worked hard for. Let's talk about the basic types of retirement accounts.
Yeah. Well,
explain those.
You've got the basic types are your 401ks, your 403bs, your 457 plans, your TSPs, right? All different letters and numbers, but really all we're saying there is that type of account is a tax-deferred retirement account. And when you retire, you're going to be able to roll that money over to some type of self-directed IRA, which is the right thing to do because if you want to take money out of your retirement accounts, the best way to do that is through an individual retirement account because most of those accounts that I just mentioned, the 401k, 403b, 457, some don't even let you take systematic monthly withdrawals or any income out. Or if you do, there's a 20% mandatory tax withholding along with any other additional income tax you may owe. So getting that money out of those accounts into an individual retirement account is your first step in making sure that you're going in the right direction for a retirement strategy.
I just had a new client who he had left his money in his 401k and he needed income from it. So periodically he would go there, he'd have to fill out paperwork every time he took a withdrawal. He'd have to pay $50 every time he took a withdrawal. He had to pay the 20% taxes. He said, this doesn't make any sense. I need to figure out how to get this. Actually, I'd prefer it to come in monthly, systematically, right? So that's the importance of when you exit and separate from service, get your money into an individual retirement account, for sure.
And Rebecca, when we come back, I really want to talk about how we go about building the income structure at Secure Money Advisors, because one of the things that people really need to get used to understanding, especially in the world that we live in today, is that an income annuity can be your best friend in retirement, right? If you're like most of our clients and you're concerned about running out of money, you're concerned about stock market volatility, you're concerned about maybe not being able to generate enough income from your retirement accounts, this is why when we come back, you're going to want to learn about the type of income annuities that we use and why they can be such a benefit for you and why you shouldn't be scared of them and why you shouldn't listen to the negative press, because most people just haven't taken the time to educate themselves on the new types of income annuities that are very flexible, that give you a lot of access to your money, that don't tie your money up with the insurance company to where if you die, they keep it. The type we use are very flexible. You got access to your money. If you die, it goes to your children. So, but the first step, folks, really is going to onthemoneyoffer.com and getting a copy of my book. Look, if you want a simple guide to understanding retirement, a guide that's going to help give you peace of mind and security, that's going to help you understand how to build a strategy of income. Because if you're like most people we see every single day and you don't have a pension, you've got a problem. And that problem is an income problem. You're going to have a cash flow problem. And if you do it any other way, other than the use of an income annuity, you have to understand that you're subjected to market risk, interest rate risk, political risk. I could go on and on. So go to onthemoneyoffer.com. I'm giving you the book for free, folks. I'm paying for the shipping and handling. It's going to show up in a gold envelope. All you got to do is go to onthemoneyoffer.com, scan the QR code, or my team's standing by right now to take your call at 1-888-382-1298.
And while you're there, feel free to also book a date to come in and meet us and have your complimentary appointment, a look under the hood, a second opinion. It is absolutely no obligation. All right, stay with us. We're talking more about how to secure your money.
We know the market is going to get worse from here. This is the biggest monthly decline in 10 years. People's 401ks took a major hit.
Well, my investments are tanking. My retirement isn't going as planned. I can't believe I let my kid talk me into buying crypto. I mean, what is that anyway?
This was the fourth worst contraction in history.
So how are you two doing?
Your financial future doesn't have to be uncertain. I'm Brian Quaranta with Secure Money Advisors. If you have amassed a nest egg, it's time for a financial advisor to help you reach your retirement goals. This is one of the greatest tax windows in history. Now is the time to take advantage of this tax discount while you can. We specialize in retirement planning, tax mitigation, estate planning, and more. Plan your retirement right. Call now for your complimentary portfolio review and tax analysis.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Before we took a break, Brian mentioned annuities, and it has often gotten a bad rap in the past. And do you know, annuities actually started in Roman times when all those warriors were coming back. They needed jobs, they needed money so they could get wives and you know, build the community with their families. Let's talk about annuities. How do they fit so beautifully? And I have one, my husband and I, Ben, we have one. How do they fit so beautifully in that income gap, Neil?
Well, you made a key point earlier on the show about how sometimes people don't actually spend. So, you know, you've created this bucket list when you have your freedom of time of all these things you're going to do, and then you don't do them because you're worried about running out of money.
That's right.
So an annuity can fit in really, really well when you're looking for predictability and cash flow and guaranteed lifetime income. And right now, because the products are so strong, it's actually incredible leverage.
Oh, the products are the strongest. We've probably seen them in 20 years.
At
the
least.
leverage
I mean, it's
created
unbelievable.
is so good.
So good.
So good. So I just working with a single woman. She wants to retire in 3 years. Now these numbers are predicated on circumstance and age and a lot of different things. But she's got $1 million. She's going to need a little over $3,000 a month from her investments.
Yep.
She's got $1 million right now. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to buy an annuity for her, a guaranteed lifetime income annuity. She's going to put $400,000 in the income annuity. When she retires in a couple years, it's going to pay her $42,000 guaranteed for life. The leverage is phenomenal.
Amazing,
on that.
amazing.
But here's the important piece.
I mean, you're talking about over a 10% payout yield on that.
The
on
leverage,
that money.
right?
Yes.
It's incredible. But here's the important piece. We've taken 40% of the money.
Yeah.
We've created 100% of the income.
Right.
Now I take the $600,000 because that now is more long-term money because we've created all the income from the $400,000. And so I can run a little bit faster on that side, take a little bit more risk because we've solved the biggest concern.
Absolutely.
Income.
Yeah. And you followed the most basic fundamental that Wall Street teaches all of us. Whether you watch Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, or any talking head out there on stock investings, they let you know that if you're going to buy a stock, you need to hang in there for the long haul with it. Well, that's where the contradiction comes in with retirement planning. Because for most people in retirement planning, they need income. So how are you going to be able to hang on for the long haul if you have money coming out of your accounts? You're going to ruin the compounding of your investments by taking money out on a monthly basis. Even if the stock market's going up, you're disturbing the compounding of that account on the way up. So the way that we maximize returns on the investment side is by taking a portion of that money, a small portion, and getting a big leverage on that money from the insurance companies, which, by the way, folks, understand this. If you're comparing an annuity to an investment, you're looking at it all the wrong way. An annuity does something that no other investment does. It's an insurance policy for your income. So what does that mean? Take Neil's example. If his client that he put the $400,000 into lives to a point to where that annuity spends down to zero, she does not run out of money because the insurance component of that annuity kicks in and the annuity continues to pay her as long as she's living. And a lot of these annuities can be set up not only as single life, but a lot of our married clients do it as joint. And you can do a joint annuity with your husband's IRA or your wife's IRA so that when your husband dies, your wife would continue to get the income for the rest of her life. And if the balance went to zero, she would continue to get it. But if there was still a balance in the account and you both died, it gets paid out to the children. So you don't lose anything. This is why it's so important to insure. I talk about it all the time. We insure our health, we insure our cars, we insure our homes. We have to insure the income if we need it. Now, you can try other ways, right? And you might try to outsmart that guaranteed annuity by saying, well, I'm going to buy dividend-paying stocks. But you better hope and pray that those dividend-paying stocks don't lower their dividends, or all of a sudden that stock itself doesn't get beat up and decline in the market. GE was a great example of that.
Yeah.
What if you need more income than what the dividend's paying? What if the stock is down when you needed that more income? Now you're selling at a loss. Now you're getting less dividend income.
Yes.
From there on out.
Yes.
So there's, obviously there can be some advantages of using a income plan like that.
Yeah.
But there can also be some challenges.
100%.
Folks, listen, go to onthemoneyoffer.com. Get a copy of my book, please. I want to put this in your hands. I'm very passionate about the information that I have in here. It'll change your life. Go to onthemoneyoffer.com. It's absolutely free, or call 1-888-382-1298. My team's standing by to not only get you a copy of the book, but to get you scheduled to come in for a complimentary appointment.
Absolutely. All right. Can't believe we're out of time already. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you, and we'll see you again next time.